you came for honesty, sarcasm, and a little oversharing, you're in the right place. I'm Channing.
And I'm Vanessa. We're figuring things out in real time. Zero experts, just opinions. And honestly,
we're still asking, who let us adult?
Welcome to our podcast.
I'm ready.
All right. Well, welcome back to another episode of Who Let Us Adult. I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Channing.
And this week, we are going to talk about infertility, miscarriage, things like that. I know that kind of hits home for a lot of people. So we're going to be very vulnerable and, just tell about our stories with that.
Yeah.
So you want
to... should we touch on infertility? So I feel like that's going to kind of be a hard subject.
I personally don't have experience with infertility.
Right.
I have had a late term miscarriage. So yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people within just my friend group that have infertility problems. And I feel like it's so common nowadays.
Yeah. And I don't know why that is.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate it because there's a lot of girls I know that would be excellent mothers that have been trying for years.
Right.
Years, or having to go through IVF to even succeed.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a, and I feel like it is talked about a lot, things like that, but you never really know what that feels like until you have to go through that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's something that, you never think it's going to happen to you.
Guilty.
Thing. Yeah.
Guilty.
I don't think that you just walk through life thinking, oh, I'm going to have trouble, getting pregnant, or I'm going to have trouble, carrying a pregnancy to full term.
Yeah.
That it's just not one of those things that you think will happen.
Yeah.
But it does.
A friend of mine too, I mean, they haven't attempted to start trying yet, but she also works in the medical field. So all she sees is infertility. So she's even terrified to start trying.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very scary. And I feel like it's just kind of alarming, like what's causing it, especially when God made us
to do that,
to be able to carry a baby.
Right. And I think that it's easy too to kind of think, did I do something wrong? Is there something wrong with me? You kind of go through those different mindsets and phases of grief, really.
Yeah.
When something like that happens.
Yeah. So I feel like we should just dive into our stories, and I feel like, and it don't matter who goes first either. So you can tell your story, start to finish, and then, mine start to finish, and our experiences and the heartbreak and everything that we went through in between. And ours are so different.
Yeah, they're very, very different, but a loss is a loss.
Oh, yeah. I might cry.
I know.
And I don't talk about it often. And there's not a lot of people that know truly what I battled within myself. So this might be. And usually, like, there's some days I can talk about it and not shed a tear. But it's been, it was 3 years in January? Yeah, it was 3 years in January. And I may tell the full story once a year, maybe.
Yeah.
Because it just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if, and I found, even if I don't talk about it, I think about it all the time.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It never leaves or goes away.
Yeah. It's still in the back of your mind. Okay. Well, do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I can go first. It's fine.
Okay.
It's okay. So mine is what is considered late term miscarriage.
Okay.
Okay. Um, so one, I never thought that I would have any other kids, right? My oldest is 17. My youngest is 8. I thought I was done.
Yeah.
You know, different life events happened, and I met Nick, and Nick doesn't have any children biologically of his own. And him wanting to be a father is something that he desperately wants, right? He wants that. And so it wasn't a like we were trying to have a baby, but
if it happened, it happened.
Right. If it happened, it happened. There was nothing, preventing that. So I probably about a year into our relationship, I found out I was pregnant. And me personally, anytime that I have found out that I'm pregnant,
I got that phone call.
Yeah. Like I go through it, it's like a shock, right? It's like I know that this could happen. I'm not doing anything to prevent it, but it is still a shock. And you have like that, oh shit moment.
It's kind of like an adrenaline rush too.
Yeah. It's like, okay, this is real. Like this has really happened. Now, like I got to go, through pregnancy and all this. And I'm not the type that I enjoy being pregnant. Okay. I know that there are several women who absolutely think it's the greatest thing on earth. They love being pregnant. They think it is, a great thing. And it is. But me personally, I just don't like sharing my body like that.
Yeah.
Right. And it's so hard. It just puts a lot on your body. Okay. Not to mention, I was older when I got pregnant this time. Okay. I was what they classified as geriatric. Okay. Like what?
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Let's touch base on geriatric pregnancy. Okay. Because I feel like that term should be adjusted at this point.
There's a lot of people now not having till mid like legit.
Yeah, 30, late 30s.
They're getting their career started.
Early 40s. Yeah.
Not me. I'm going to be on a cruise ship with no kids at 40. Okay.
Right. No, like I just think that term needs to be adjusted.
Adjusted. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm pregnant. Okay. And I'm going through my oh shit phase, right? And like, I don't want to take away the excitement from Nick. So I'm telling him, like, listen, it's going to take me a little bit to like get over this initial shock. Like, so I don't want you to think that I'm not happy or that, anything like that. This is just me.
Well, you've been through it twice already. You know what's coming.
Right.
And how long these 9 months it's going to take to get through. Yeah.
It's the longest 9 months of
your life. It really is.
It's so long. It's so long. So, but we were excited, right? We were excited. We did the early gender thing where, they test your blood to, see if you're having a boy or a girl. We went to the doctor. Nick was very present. He went to every doctor's appointment. He was just so excited. And I was too, right?
Yeah.
Like we were going to have something that was ours.
Yeah.
Right? So, in my pregnancy, it was, in hindsight, it was a easy pregnancy, right? I didn't have complications. I didn't have, I was sick, nauseous, all the things that
The
come,
normal.
that come with being pregnant. But other than that,
yeah,
it was smooth sailing. So at 20 weeks, we go in for our anatomy scan. And it went great. He was right on track. He was, growing as he should. And
wasn't he very active that appointment too?
yes, he was super active. In which, if you know his father,
accurate.
yeah, the apple didn't fall far. So they had trouble getting all the measurements that they would like to get because of how active he was. Like he literally was on one side, and then she would, try to get a measurement, and he would flip and go to the other side. He's like, catch me if you can type deal.
Yeah.
So she got most of them, but there was one that she was unable to get. He wasn't still enough, whatever. And so my doctor was like, look, this happens all the time. It's not, anything to worry about, but I do want you to come back in a couple of days so that we can see if he'll be, still long enough for us to get that last measurement that we need. So I went back 2 days later. And this was the one appointment that Nick did not go to. My mom went with me. Nick was at work, and he gladly would have left work and came, but I was like, I'm probably only going to be there for like 10 minutes. It's not a big deal, just whatever. So we go in, and by this time I'm over 20 weeks, and we go in, and it was a normal visit, normal day. I didn't feel any different. I didn't, anything like that. And she pulls that or turns on the screen or the TV, or where you can watch the ultrasound being done. And it was like I instantly knew something was wrong. He was not moving at all. And then she goes, I'll be back in just a second. And as a mom, when you're having an ultrasound, you don't want your ultrasound tech to leave.
Right.
That's not a normal thing. So she leaves the room, and I tell my mom, I'm like, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And she's like, no, she probably just can't see what she needs to see, or, and my mom is medically trained, right? And I'm like, well, I don't know. It's just not good when they leave. I know that.
Yeah.
So she comes back, and she comes back with the doctor, and they tell me that they're unable to find a heartbeat. And so she said, I'm going to bring in another ultrasound tech who has more experience. We're going to see. And she comes in, and she's like, no, there's no longer a heartbeat. So at this point, your mind is racing, right? Like, why? Why is there no longer a heartbeat? Like a couple of days ago, everything was fine. Why how could this happen? Like, does this just happen?
Yeah.
And then it's like, what do I have to do from here, right? Like, medically, what do I have to do? So she said that in situations like this, what you do is, you schedule an appointment, you come in, they put you in labor, like induce your labor, and give birth to your baby. And I'm like thinking, how? Like, my body isn't ready to do that. It doesn't know to do that. And she's like, well, we give medicines and there's different things that we do to, force you to go into labor. So I remember coming home and having to tell Nick that, and carrying that weight of him. He was just so excited for this baby.
Did you tell him why you're at the doctor, or did you wait till you left and had all the answers? Well, what the game plan was before you told him?
Yes. Yeah, because when we were still in the doctor's office, she told us, this is, what you're going to have to do. You don't have to schedule it today. We will call you in the morning. You can tell us, your schedule or whatever, but it just has to be done within like so many days.
Yeah.
Right. And I forget what that time frame was, but and there was a couple different ways that they could do it, right? So she was like, go home and talk with Nick about it and figure out the best option for you guys, and let me know when I call you. So I knew that I had to obviously come home and tell Nick that this happened, and I knew how crushed he was going to be. And it's one of those things, like, you know how excited somebody is. You don't want to have to tell them this. Then on the other side of that, you are almost like you feel guilty because your body didn't do what it was supposed to do. Right? Nobody thinks, and everyone is, you're always told, even at the doctor's office, oh, well, you are this many weeks, so now your chances of miscarriage is like 1%.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you think you're out of the woods.
Right.
Everything's going to be fine from there on out. And I was past that point, right? My doctor had told me, your chances of miscarriage now is like less than 1%. Like, keep doing what you're doing. So I knew that I was going to have to, come home and break this news to Nick, and just how heartbroken he was going to be. And this was Halloween. So we had planned, to come home, and, it was going to be great. We got to see the baby today, and we were going to take Waylon trick-or-treating. It was just going to be a good day.
Yeah.
So I come home and I, have to tell Nick this, and, he's just as confused as I am, right? Like, how could this happen? Different things like that. So, our family like really rallied around us during that time. There was going to be a couple of days before I could get to the hospital and, go through the next step. So, I know you were there for me.
Yeah. Well,
Family.
I remember exactly what I was doing.
Yeah, you were out of town.
I was at Disney.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you went for your first appointment, you sent me the pics. I got to go back. And then I knew you were going back Friday because I was flying back that night. And you just texted me and you just said Channing. And I said, what? And you just said, they can't find a heartbeat. And I'm like, what? But my heart instantly sank, which I called you and I was crying on the phone, but it instantly triggered me and brought me
right back.
Just in not only that, and I was just like, and I wasn't nowhere near as far along, which, I'll get in that. But I was just like, I don't know what I would do because mine alone traumatized me.
Yeah. So, we went through the weekend, and then that Monday, we had to go into the hospital, and so we went back to my doctor's office, and she said, you have two options. You can do option A, which is where we induce your labor, and it's just like any other natural birth that you would have. Option B is we put you to sleep, and it's like a suction, right? And I was like, no go. But I will be honest in saying that, one, I was very scared because I've never been through anything like this before. I've never known anybody who had a miscarriage this late.
You're my first person to know.
Yeah.
That late.
Yeah. It's not something that you really hear about. So, there was a lot of unknowns, and I was, really scared about that. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I think that I may just want them to knock me out and do it that way so that I didn't have to go through the steps, right? Yeah. I thought, well, maybe that will make me feel better about it if I just didn't have to do that. But, Nick and I talked about it, and he was like, I think in the long run, you won't be happy going that route. He was right, of course, but at the time, it's like you just want
to start your grieving process.
Yeah, you just want to get to the point where you can grieve. But I didn't choose that route. I did choose the first option. So they immediately took me to labor and delivery, and they start the medicine that induces your labor. And it wasn't Pitocin. It was like these dissolvable tablets. Okay. And so they insert them every so often, and it forces you to dilate. Obviously, I didn't have to dilate all the way to a 10, but that's, what it does. So I will be the first one to admit, okay, I'm not a good time in labor. Not a good time. It's not a good time. Okay. I honestly, I was like, I don't have to dilate all the way to a 10. So maybe I don't have to get this epidural. If I don't have to get this epidural, I'm going to hold out as long as I can.
Right.
Okay. Again, I had no idea, what this was going to be like. So I, was there. They started in the beginning, of course. It was super easy, right? Had a little bit of discomfort, nothing I couldn't tolerate, anything like that. Well, as the night progressed, obviously it got worse. Well, I had back labor. Okay. And I've had back labor before. I had back labor with Weston. And it was the worst experience of my life. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had back labor.
Nope.
I don't wish it on anybody. It's
Yeah.
terrible. It literally feels like your back is breaking in half. Okay. It's terrible. It hurts very bad. So here I am. I'm having back labor. And I knew as soon as I started getting some pain in my back, I said, oh shit, here we go. I'm going to have back labor. Okay. And I told Nick, I said, he's never in his life been through anything like this. He said, what the hell's back labor? I'm like, oh, you're about to find out.
Find out real quick.
Yeah, you're about to find out. So, the pain was just like a regular labor. So finally, I told the nurse, I said, I don't want the epidural if I can help it. So if you can just give me something for pain, I'll do that route. She was like, we can do that. So they gave me some pain medicine. And I will tell you what, I don't know what it is that they gave me, okay? I'm sure if you're full term, you can't do this. But it was some good shit. Okay. I was like, she started putting that in that IV and I instantly felt relief. And I was just like, you are heaven sent, okay? Because I don't have any more pain.
Yeah.
Well, that was short lived. Okay. So about an hour later, I said, can I have some more of that? She was like, I don't know. Let me see. She's like, I'm going to give you a little bit more. I'm like, okay. I'm not a medicine seeker, okay? I don't even like to take Tylenol. I will sit with a migraine as long as I can stand it before I take anything, right? So this wasn't I just don't want to feel anything. No, I was in some pain.
Yeah.
Okay. So she gave me a little bit more. Okay. It helped for about 10 minutes. And then I said, Nick, you're going to have to ask her if I can have anything else. So she comes back and she's like, I can't give you any more pain medicine for like 3 hours. I'm like, oh, hell no. I was in a lot of pain, but then you have a lot of emotion, right? And this isn't a happy emotion. You know that you're going to go into this hospital and have your baby and you're not going to go home with your baby, right? So I remember I just kept begging. I was like, Nick, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. And he's like, I know, like, he's trying to be as supportive as possible. Again, he's never been through anything like this, and I'm not a good time in labor. Okay, I'm actually very
Nick's
mean.
traumatized for the first go around.
Yep. I'm actually probably pretty hateful. Okay, so I said, give me the epidural then, So that was a whole fiasco. So the doctor comes in to do the epidural, bragging, oh, I'm the best anesthesiologist here. I can get epidural, like, this is going to be smooth sailing, okay? No, it was not like that at all. So he goes, do you have like back problems? And I'm like, I mean, I've had 2 epidurals, back labor before, like, and that kind of messed up my back. But other than that, no. And he's like, well, I'm having trouble like getting it in. Okay. So he's like wiggling this thing around in my back. And he would be like, am I to the right or to the left? And I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Like, it all hurts.
Right.
Like, I don't know. You're the doctor, right? Um, he said, well, I'm going to have to move up your back to try to get it to work. So he had to start all over, and he got it that time, thankfully. So he comes back in and he's like, everything's good. You should be feeling a lot more comfortable now. And I was. So it probably was 20 or 30 minutes after that that he came. And that was just like, I don't even know really how to explain that, like how to put that into words, right? Because they were like, they had previously asked me before, like, when you have him, do you want him to stay in here or do you want us to take him and then bring him back? What do you want? And I said, I think that I want you to take him, let me get situated, and then bring him back. Because I just didn't know what my emotions were going to be like during that time. So when he was born, he actually had the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck multiple times. And they said that is the problem, like they instantly knew. They were like, this is why this happened. And so we go through, that, and finally we were like, bring him in here, and that was, I really didn't know like what I was going to feel like, or I don't know. It's all unknown. It's all new territory. You just don't know. And that is not the types of situations that I like to be in. I like to know what I'm getting into, what could happen, or what's going to happen. And this whole experience was nothing like that, right?
Right.
So, they brought him in. They had him cleaned up and wrapped up and all the things. And he was a big boy. Okay, big. To be, 21, almost 22 weeks. He was built just like Nick, like really long legs, long arms, like, and I remember just sitting there and like Nick just holding him and crying.
Yeah.
Right. And it was the hardest thing to watch and go through, because I'm trying to be there for him. He's trying to be there for me. Like, we're going through this together. Why does he do that shit?
He probably had to step out.
Yeah. Poor Nicky. So, then they come to you and they're like, well, what do you want us to do with him? Like, here are your options. Are you going to have a funeral service for him? Do you want to cremate? Do you want to, us to take care of it? Like, there's just several different things that you can do. And we decided to have him cremated so that we could always have that. And it was a couple hours later, they discharged me. You don't have to stay there very long afterwards. Um, yeah, and that car ride home was rough,
Yeah.
right? Because again, you get to a point where like you are so excited and you like can't wait to have your baby. And like, what is he going to look like? Or, what type of personality is he going to have? And, this Nick is going to be so excited. His parents are going to be so excited. It's going to be their first grandchild. Um, you know, Everybody was just so excited. And I just felt like I let everybody down. Um, I felt like it was my fault that this happened. Um, and then I remember coming home, and there would just be times where I would just cry, and because I just missed my baby
Yeah.
and I just wanted him here. And it was hard. It was really hard. And I'm very thankful that Nick was very supportive and really got me through that, and we got each other through that, and nobody knew, really what to do um during that. Like I remember my mom, like she has these regrets. She's like, I should have been there. I should have went with you and seen him and held him and all of that. Um, I mean, she was here watching the kids and making sure, all the things here were taken care of. And at the time, that's what I needed from her. I needed to make sure that the kids were okay. But I can understand her feelings too. Like, I should have just been there.
Yeah.
You know?
Because her baby was having to do that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And my mama and these grandbabies.
Oh, Mama Betty. We love us some Betty.
Oh, man. And they were so excited too. Like my parents were. No one thought that I would be having another baby. And so when I, told them that I was, they were so excited. So, yeah. So that all happened, and I believe that it's made us stronger. Mine and Nick's relationship, we still, talk about him. We have a special place for his ashes, and we have his bonnet and all the things. We remember him and talk about him. But it's just so sad, right? And I think after that, emotionally, I feel better about it. But there are times that I go through, I'm like, he would have been here. He would have been this old. Or you see a baby and you're like, I want that baby. Like,
Yeah.
Um, it's a constant ride of emotions, I think, that you go on after that. Um, and yeah. So our future, I'm not, you know, if God wants us to have another baby, then he'll give us another baby. But
Yeah.
that's kind of where we are with it. Like,
Yeah.
If if we decide, you know, yes, we want to try that again, because it's scary. It's scary. And my doctor, which she was great. We had the same doctor. You actually referred her to me because our one OB decided he was going to retire on us. But, she told me the chances of what happened, you have a better chance of getting struck by lightning than what happened.
Yeah.
Right? Most of the time, it's common for babies to be born with an umbilical cord wrapped around their neck. It's common. Most of the time, it doesn't cause any issues. But this time it did. And, it's unfortunate. And there's nothing that prevents me from having more children, but it is scary to be like, okay, let's try this again.
Yeah.
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 So that's my story.
Yeah. I don't even know where to begin with mine. And this just goes to show how different ours happened. I do find a lot of blessings within mine now, now that we're past it. But to touch on infertility, I've never had that problem. Ty took me 3 cycles. Tegan was an accident. Ty was 9 months old when I got pregnant with her. I obviously went through my divorce when we tried for the first baby. It took me 2 cycles. Now, I found out I was pregnant December, it was Christmas time, like December 26th. I miscarried January 26th. I had went in for an ultrasound, and my cycle is clockwork. So if I'm a day late, or I'm not even, mine starts in the morning. So if it's afternoon and ain't hit, Channing's pregnant.
Oh, hell.
So, I know how far along I was. And I feel like I was a little bit naive in this situation, because when I went the first time, which obviously they did a vaginal ultrasound, they said that I was measuring like 3 weeks and like 6 days, when really I was like 5-6 weeks. But then I was like, well, maybe I ovulated late, or I was given those reasons to myself instead of
questioning.
Yeah, but I wasn't questioning it at that point. Like, I was like, oh, well, maybe I, just ovulated late or whatever. And they were like, we want to see you in 2 weeks. Okay. And with the my charts or whatever, your results, get put on there. Well, I went in 2 weeks later and there was no change. And your HCG levels are supposed to double every other day.
Right.
I became obsessed with that fact after my miscarriage, because I learned
so much. Yeah.
They didn't tell me that I was miscarrying in that. They just said, well, you're still measuring behind. Like, obviously they can't say much anyway, but the doctor's note got sent on my chart, and I read the note, and it was just like, sac visible, no heartbeat, yada, yada, yada. Probably leaning, basically said, you're going to have a miscarriage type deal. And that was on a Wednesday. Well, I was basically, at this point, I was scared to go to the bathroom. I was just waiting for it. Well, actually that evening I started bleeding. Luckily my older two were at their dad's, so they didn't have to see me go through it. But when I first initially went to the bathroom, I started bleeding. I called, my husband, but my pain grew like intensely. And with Ty, like, I've had C-sections, but I went to labor with him. So I was at dilated to a 6 when I got to the hospital with him, but he was breached, so I had to have a C-section, which we knew that ahead of time. But I had an idea of what labor
pain.
pains
Yeah.
felt like, all of that. This was worse. And I was, sitting on the toilet just sobbing. At that point, I'm sitting there blaming myself. Well, what did I do wrong? Why is God doing this to me? Yada, yada, yada. And having 2 healthy pregnancies, there was not a doubt in my mind that something was going to happen with this one. And poor Noah, he's trying all the things. He's running me a hot bath. He's got a heating pad going next to the bed. I get a bath, get in the bed. I had some 800 ibuprofens, and he gave me one of those, and I was able to sleep for like an hour. But I started getting like stabbing pains. So my doctor was like, you need to go to the ER.
Now, had she already had the conversation with you that you will probably miscarry?
No.
Okay.
So I went to I didn't get an ultrasound in my actual doctor's office because our doctor's in Louisville. I went here to I think it was Heartland Imaging, maybe. It was a place here. But with my amount of pain, when I called up there, I was like, hey, we had XYZ ultrasound. And honestly, I was being impatient. I should have waited until my 8-week appointment. But I was wanting to get my 6-week blood test done. So I wanted to check everything before. So I'm not going to go in detail how, but I was able to get an ultrasound appointment here.
Okay.
Following?
Yes. I'm tracking.
So I called my doctor, and she was, however I got that ultrasound appointment, I called them, and she was like, you need to go to the ER. They drew my lab work, and within 2 days, my ACG only went up 100. And at like 7 weeks, which I should have been, my ACG levels were at 1200. That was the worst experience I've ever had at Hardin Baptist or whatever. They did another ultrasound again, but I was in so much pain. I was crying when they were doing the ultrasound because they had to do another vaginal. And like I was screaming on the table because they're prying and prodding, and everything in my body was hurting. And the last thing you want is something up there.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I get back, she didn't tell me anything. I wasn't able to see anything on the screen because she was just checking for medical purposes, right? So the doctor comes in, and this is hold on, let's back up. In the waiting room, I'm in pain. I know I'm miscarrying. My emotions are everywhere. And I was getting a little hateful, to the point to where Noah was like, we may have to go wait in the car. But because I'm sitting there sobbing, I'm hurting, I'm pissed off at God. I'm not even gonna lie. I was pissed. And this little old lady in her wheelchair next to me, full oxygen tank on with a nose thing, and she drops her, her purse is tucked in right here where she knocks it over, and like 6 packs of cigarettes fall out. And I ran right through me. I said, won't you smoke another one? And I'm like sobbing when I was doing that.
Yeah.
Noah's like, we're probably going to go wait in the car. And I was like, I'll calm down. But I was just hurting so bad, emotionally and physically.
Yeah.
So anywho, had the ultrasound done. Doctor came in, and she pretty much was like, well, you just need to pretend like you're still pregnant, and you need to go see your OB tomorrow. Like, you need to go to your doctor. And they have a labor and delivery floor there. Right. I don't understand why they couldn't have had a doctor come down, examine, helped me. No, they discharged me and was like, you just need to pretend like you still have HCG levels. You just pretend you're pregnant. You're still pregnant. That's what they told me. You're still pregnant. You need to go see your doctor. Well, that obviously I would not have handled that situation that way, especially the state of mind I was in. I was so traumatized.
Right.
So I call my doctor. Well, they have like 2 floors. So they have like a midwife level, and the level up, you have like the doctors. Well, the quickest I was able to get in was going to a midwife. And um, here's where it got kind of full circle. So I go in, and she looked at all my results, and she, grabbed my leg, and she was like, "You did have a miscarriage." But the blessing in that was my body did everything on its own. So I didn't have to go back and do a D&C or anything. Like, my body did what it was supposed to do. But I'm sitting here sobbing to her. And
Yeah.
when she touched my leg, and I wish I could have had her in my doctor, but she was a midwife. But she had 4 miscarriages herself.
Mm.
So she was tearing up talking to me, and the children that she does have, she had to have through IVF.
Mm.
And my exact words was, "Why am I crying? Like, you've had 4 and I've had 1, and
Right.
like,
Yeah.
how selfish of me." That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Because you've had multiple, and then you've had to have IVF and all things. But she was like, "No, like, that doesn't make anything less. Like, I just feel what you're feeling. Like,
Yeah.
I get it." And she was like, "In 2 days, I just want to do a redraw on your blood just to make sure your levels are going down." And they did. I mean, they were pretty much at like below 60 when I went and redid my blood work.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that my body
Did
did what it
it.
was supposed to do, because
Mhm.
I feel like that would have prolonged me just being able to be home and just cry, right?
Yeah.
On the way home, like, I just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed, and especially, after having 2 kids already, I don't know if it would have affected me any differently if it was my first.
Mm.
But she did say, she goes, "I know they say 1 in 4 women have miscarriages, but it's 1 in 3."
Mm.
And that was my 3rd pregnancy.
Yeah.
And she did say there too, she goes, "But you know what the positive news is?" And I was like, "What?" She was like, "You were able to conceive. Like, you have no problem doing
Right.
that." And she was like, "You just got to let 1 cycle go through, and you can attempt again." Well, I knew immediately, like, after that 1 cycle, I wanted to try again, because we were trying for that one. But um, a lot of it I held in because I felt like everyone else moved on
Mm.
around me,
Mhm.
but I was battling within. And, and that was Noah too. Not that he moved on, but um, he didn't get to feel anything like Nick. He got to see the baby, and, he didn't have and we've sat and talked about it, because I was like, I just feel like I'm the only one hurting here. And
Right.
he was like, "No, like, I'm upset." He was like, "But you're the mom. Like, you are the one who had that immediate
Connection.
connection with the baby. And I
Mhm.
didn't get to see anything or hear a heartbeat. Like, to me, it wasn't real for me yet." And, as the weeks go on, oh, I would have been 10 weeks pregnant today, or today would have been the day, delivery time. Like,
Mm.
those
Mhm.
weeks you keep calculating. You don't do it on purpose. You
No,
just
you just
automatically
do it.
do it.
Yeah.
So that was January 26th. I conceived Tatum in April. So very quick.
Yeah.
However, anxiety went down a little bit, but I learned so much about HCG levels and how they're supposed to double and then triple. So I had a draw done, and my first draw was like 600. Well, immediately I had some relief, because I was like 7 weeks, and it was only 1,200. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I know in 2 days I need to be at least double, right?
Yeah.
So 2 days later, I had them done again, and it was in the 4,000s. So that held me over for a bit, because I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
like, my body's doing what it needs to be doing. But then it was time for the ultrasound, and I'm just praying,
Mm.
please let there be a heartbeat, because though even during that time frame before I conceived, I took a week off work. When I went back into work, I would take 15s, and I would just go, no one knew,
Mhm.
but I would go cry in my car.
Yeah.
And this is probably the moment in my life when I prayed and prayed and prayed, because I was hurting so bad that I needed it, the pain away from me.
Yeah.
Well, I had a cousin that she had child loss before, but her daughter was 21 who got killed in a car wreck. But she had sent me a ornament, and it was a wood cutout, and it was angel wings and with a cute little prayer thing. And I didn't put it on my tree. I did have a mom thing hanging on my rearview mirror with the kids' names. So I put that with it. Just I have my angel baby, I have my 2 kids, and that's where it was. Well, I was at Ty's baseball practice, and I went and sat in my car. I had the windows up, and this I swear God was speaking to me because I had the windows up, and I'm sitting there just crying, and I'm like wanting to be pregnant, all the thoughts, and the angel wings started like a breeze came through. There was no breeze. They started dangling. And I'm like, I started looking around. I'm like, I don't have any windows. My visor was shut. My sunroof was shut. I didn't know where it came from. And I was like, I think I need to go home and take a pregnancy test. And that night when I got home from practice, and that's the first when I found out that I was pregnant. But I was like, I think that's God's way. It was like, hey, stop crying.
Yeah.
Like, you can go do it. But I also think it was a sign from my angel baby. But when I had Tatum, they were doing their rounds on discharge, and the lady came in, and this is where it was full circle. She is not my doctor. She's actually the midwife that I've seen with my miscarriage, and she came in, and she wanted to see me. She's seen my name in the thing, and she wanted to come see me. Well, she walks in, and she's about to pop.
Oh my gosh.
So I seen her. I'm probably gonna cry talking about it. But I seen her come in, and I'm like, what a full circle moment, because I just had my rainbow baby, and you're about to pop and have yours. She's actually at a fertility clinic now, and she's helping with IVF. So I seen that transfer about a year after I had Tatum, but I just thought it was just really cool, and that she wanted to come see me and see Tatum, and then just to see her success too. So it was just really neat. But during the time that we were trying to conceive, you remember I went to Disney. And during that trip, we were supposed to do our gender reveal for my angel baby during that trip. And it was also on my daughter's 4th birthday. And I woke up that morning, and I'm like, it's Tegan's birthday. I know, I just had the plans in my head what we were supposed to be doing that along with that. And I was like, I just need to shut it off. It's Tegan's day. She gets to dress up like a princess today. We're at Disney. We're not going to think about it. Well, I did end up naming that baby. I didn't know if it was a boy or girl. In my heart, I knew it was a girl. And actually, my ex-mother-in-law texted me when she found out I miscarried, and she said, Chaney, if you do anything, she said, please name your baby. That way, when you get to heaven, you know. And I know a lot of people probably think that's silly. Like, why are you naming? But she had a valid point. She's like, that way when you get to heaven,
your baby knows.
Your baby knows. And we have the T tradition name. We have Tegan, so I picked the name Reagan. Felt like it was something similar to Tegan. It had my mate because we got Tatum Ray and Tegan Rayleigh. So I was like, Reagan Tate. So that's what we named her. But we're watching this Disney parade at Disney, and we got the kids. We're lined up on the sidewalk, and this little girl, she had to be 3, 4 maybe, and she told me her age, but it's been so long I can't remember exactly. But she goes, she's just talking to me. What's your name? Are these your kids? And I was like, yeah. I was like, this is Ty and Tegan. And then I was like, what is your name? And out of all the freaking people in Disney World, and what that day was supposed to be, it was a blessing, and I think it was a wink from heaven. But she goes, my name is Reagan. Nice to meet you. And I instantly, had the breath knocked out of me.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. And then I'm trying to like hold my tears back because her parents are probably like, why is this lady,
lady is nuts.
crying? Like, so like the air was knocked out of me and I'm just looking at Noah and I'm like, and he's like, what? And I finally told him and I was like, an instant of relief like came over me afterwards because I think it was like a high bye type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think God works in mysterious ways, and I think that that was her just,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just wild, and you can't tell me no different because just the scenario and how many people were there, and it had to be that name and what the day it was.
Yeah.
But ever since that I found out when I had Tatum, I would not have Tatum if I delivered that baby because the timeline, like I got conceived 3 months later and Tatum has been the biggest blessing. So I don't know why it happened, but I understand God's plan now because now we have Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
But
hold on, my dog. Trumpy. He was having a dream.
But yeah, that was
yeah, and I often think of that too, like going to heaven and meeting my baby.
Yeah.
And like I tell Nick all the time because Nick still has trouble with that, and I'm like, he knows us. He's in heaven. He knows us. He picked us to be his parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he knows, and we're gonna see him one day.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's awesome that you named your baby, and
Yeah, I have
they have an identity, like
right. And I have something hanging up in my living room. It's Jesus holding a baby, but it's wrapped in a pink towel, and I have her name on it, just hung up that way, and I think telling my kids was a hard part too. But what's crazy is, they were 4 and 5, and they're 8 and 7 now, and they remember, but they make, which, private school, they know all about Jesus and God, right? And heaven. And they make comments all the time, because the baby, that died in your belly, they're in heaven, and I will get to meet him, or yeah, Grandma Cheryl has, our baby until, we get there. They still make comments like that. And then, and this happened recently, Tegan, just talking. Well, how many kids do you have? Well, I have 3. I'm not going into
full detail.
And Ty goes, no, you have 4. I said, no, I have 3. He said, Mom, you have Reagan. So they still include.
Yeah, they remember.
They remember. Yeah. They remember.
Which I think is very sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're sweet kids.
Yeah.
So
yeah, our stories are very, very different, but at the same time, we feel that same heartache, and no matter whether it was an early miscarriage, late miscarriage, a loss is a loss and a baby is a baby. And I believe babies are such a blessing, and miracles. That midwife told me, she was like, literally the stars have to align.
Yep.
Because you got to think, when the cells and stuff are developing, like if one chemical off balance, it really is a miracle. You don't have to feel alone, and our DMs are always open if you need someone to talk to. I didn't have a whole lot of people to talk to. I had people, but no one to understand my feelings, because it was just like, well, you can try again. Okay, well, I wanted that baby.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted that baby.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. Try again. I get that, and I'm grateful. I mean, like I said, Tatum's a blessing, and if I had to go back and change it, I wouldn't. Tatum was created so perfectly. I'm obsessed with her, and I don't know if it's just because she's the baby, but she definitely healed a part of my heart over that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So hopefully, I think our goal is to, help somebody that is in this situation or has been through this same situation. And, if you need to talk about it, let's talk about it.
Inbox is always open.
Yeah. So I think that is going to wrap up this episode of Who Let Us Adult. Yeah. So don't forget to
just click it.
Yeah. And if you don't get that reference,
go back and watch another video.
Go back an episode. But yes, please like, share, subscribe, tag your friends, all the things. We really enjoy doing our podcast.
If there's certain topics you want us to talk about, message us, comment, let us know, because we're game. We're open.
Yeah.
We can talk about anything.
Yeah. Or if you got a good story and you think it's camera worthy, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we will see you guys next week.
If you came for honesty, sarcasm, and a little oversharing, you're in the right place. I'm Channing.
And I'm Vanessa. We're figuring things out in real time. 0 experts, just opinions. And honestly,
we're still asking, who let us adult?
Welcome to our podcast.